Hello ladies, and welcome to the channel. Why Sigma females have nobody in their lives is a subject often misunderstood by society. To the casual observer, it might seem like loneliness or a lack of connections is a sign of something missing. But for Sigma females, isolation isn't a burden. It's often a conscious choice driven by a deep sense of self-awareness, independence, and an unflinching refusal to compromise their principles for superficial companionship. This is not about being incapable of relationships, but about rejecting the ones that don't serve their growth, peace, or authenticity. In a world obsessed with validation and social approval, Sigma females choose to stand alone. Not because they have to, but because they know the difference between being alone and being lonely. Their solitude is a reflection of their strength, not their weakness. Number 1. They are cautious of people who get too close too quick. Sigma females have an acute sense of discernment when it comes to relationships, especially when someone attempts to forge a connection too quickly. To them, genuine bonds take time, trust, and mutual understanding to build. Anyone who pushes too hard, too fast, immediately raises red flags. In their eyes, haste in relationships often signals ulterior motives, whether it's manipulation, neediness, or a hidden agenda. Sigma females are cautious because they understand that trust and closeness, when given prematurely, can be exploited. They have learned through experience that people who rush into their lives often don't respect boundaries or the natural pace at which relationships should develop. Rather than being swept up by charm or superficial friendliness, Sigma females maintain their distance, observing from a place of self-protection. They know that authentic relationships are built on mutual respect, not on someone's desire for immediate intimacy or validation. This caution is often misunderstood as aloofness or disinterest, but it is a crucial defense mechanism. The Sigma female is not willing to gamble her emotional well-being by letting someone in before they've proven their intentions are sincere. She understands the cost of false intimacy and isn't willing to pay it. By being cautious, she weeds out those who don't have the patience or the integrity to engage with her on a deeper, more meaningful level. This level of vigilance is what keeps her emotionally secure, even if it means being alone more often than not. Number 2. They don't need friends. Sigma females operate on a different wavelength when it comes to social relationships. They don't view friendships as a necessary part of life, but rather as an optional enhancement. Unlike those who seek friendships to fill voids or validate their self-worth, Sigma females are content with their own company and find satisfaction within themselves. They understand that true fulfillment and happiness come from self-reliance and personal growth, not from external validation or the company of others. For Sigma females, friendships are not a requirement for a fulfilling life. They prefer to invest their energy in pursuits that align with their values and interests, rather than expending effort on social interactions that don't contribute meaningfully to their lives. Their focus is on quality over quantity, forming connections that are truly valuable rather than maintaining a broad network of acquaintances. This perspective can make them seem detached or indifferent to social norms, but it's a reflection of their strong sense of self and their understanding that real contentment comes from within. They don't feel the need to conform to societal expectations about social engagement. Instead, they prioritize their own happiness and personal development, finding that solitude often provides the space needed for profound growth and introspection. Number 3. Their private nature is intimidating. The Sigma female's private nature isn't just a personality quirk. It's a deliberate boundary that can make others feel uneasy. She doesn't feel the need to broadcast her life, overshare her emotions, or update anyone on her latest thoughts and decisions. In a world where oversharing is practically a social currency, her discretion is both baffling and intimidating. People don't know how to handle someone who isn't eager to participate in the endless cycle of superficial sharing. She has no interest in being an open book for casual acquaintances to skim through. In fact, her silence often speaks louder than any words could, and this tends to make people uncomfortable because they're not used to dealing with someone whose life isn't an open buffet of personal information. It's as if her private nature holds up a mirror to their need for attention. And let's just say, it's not a flattering reflection. Humorously enough, this mystique tends to drive people nuts. It's like they're faced with a puzzle they can't solve, and no one likes being kept in the dark. But for the Sigma female, this is less about maintaining an air of mystery and more about protecting her peace. She doesn't need or want people in her business, and that's enough to send even the nosiest of individuals packing. So while some may find her intimidating, she's not exactly losing sleep over it. If people can't handle the fact that they don't get front row seats to her inner world, that's not her problem. It's theirs. Number 4, even your own family may not have your best interests in mind. Sigma females know that blood doesn't automatically equal loyalty or understanding. While society romanticizes the idea of family being a constant source of unconditional love and support, Sigma females have a more pragmatic view. They recognize that even family members can be driven by their own biases, insecurities, or agendas, and these factors often don't align with what's best for the Sigma female. Family dynamics can be complicated, filled with expectations that may conflict with her desire for independence and authenticity. A Sigma female isn't going to conform just to keep the peace or meet someone else's vision of success. She's seen how familial pressures can stifle personal growth, limit freedom, or even manipulate emotional ties to enforce control. The truth is, not all family members have pure motives, and some may be more invested in maintaining the status quo than supporting her path to self-actualization. The Sigma female doesn't shy away from this harsh reality. She understands that just because someone is related to her doesn't mean they automatically have her best interests at heart. While she values the concept of family, she's not blinded by it. She's willing to set boundaries, distance herself, or even go it alone if necessary, rather than be held back by toxic or manipulative relationships, even if they come from her closest relatives. She knows that self-preservation and emotional well-being often require making tough choices, even if it means stepping back from people who are supposed to care the most. Her loyalty is to her principles, not to blind obligations. So while family ties may be strong, they aren't unbreakable, especially if they threaten her autonomy and growth. Number 5, they aren't desperate for company. A Sigma female doesn't see being alone as a problem to be fixed. Unlike many who feel an almost compulsive need to surround themselves with others, she views solitude as a state of empowerment. She doesn't rely on others for emotional fulfillment, validation, or entertainment. The idea of desperately seeking company is foreign to her because she understands the importance of being comfortable in her own skin. Most people scramble to fill the empty spaces in their lives with social interactions, fearing the silence of their own thoughts. The Sigma female, however, thrives in that silence. She recognizes that being alone offers clarity, peace, and the opportunity to focus on her personal growth. Socializing just for the sake of not feeling lonely holds no appeal for her because she doesn't equate solitude with loneliness. In fact, the Sigma female often finds the typical scramble for company to be more of a burden than a benefit. She isn't interested in the forced interactions, shallow connections, or performative friendships that many people engage in just to avoid being alone. She has no fear of missing out because she knows that what most people are missing out on isn't anything she values in the first place. For the Sigma female, company is only meaningful when it adds to her life in a real, substantial way. She would rather be alone than in the company of people who drain her energy, demand her attention for trivial matters, or offer nothing but surface-level engagement. Her independence is her strength, and she will never sacrifice that just to avoid the discomfort that others often feel in solitude. Number 6, most people cannot relate to the Sigma level of intellect. Sigma females operate on a different intellectual frequency, and this often creates an unbridgeable gap between them and most people. They don't engage in idle chatter, nor do they waste their mental energy on trivial matters. Their minds are always focused on deeper subjects, whether it's philosophical questions, creative problem-solving, or personal growth. This intellectual intensity makes it difficult for them to relate to the average person, who may not share the same appetite for deep, meaningful discussions. It's not that the Sigma female looks down on others. She simply operates in a realm where small talk and surface-level thinking don't hold her interest. While many people bond over casual conversations, gossip, or current trends, she finds these topics mentally unstimulating. This inability to connect on a superficial level often makes her feel like an outsider in social settings, where her more thoughtful approach to conversation can be seen as intimidating or even aloof. Most people aren't used to engaging with someone who questions everything, seeks continuous growth, and refuses to accept things at face value. The Sigma female's intellect demands substance, depth, and a challenge. In contrast, many are content with the comfort of routine thinking, avoiding the discomfort that comes with questioning the status quo. This difference in mental priorities creates a divide that few can cross. Because of this, Sigma females often find themselves isolated, not out of choice, but because they can't force themselves into conversations or relationships that don't stimulate their minds. They would rather be alone than pretend to be interested in topics that don't resonate with them. The truth is, their intellect isn't always easy for others to keep up with, and instead of slowing down for the sake of fitting in, the Sigma female chooses to remain in her own mental space, content with the company of her thoughts. Number 7. They avoid drama at all costs. If there's one thing a Sigma female cannot stand, it's drama. Not the entertaining kind you see on TV, but the exhausting, emotionally draining kind that people seem to invite into their lives like a bad habit. For the Sigma female, drama is an unnecessary distraction that disrupts her peace and wastes her time, and quite frankly, she's got better things to do. It's not that she's conflict-averse. She's perfectly capable of standing her ground when needed. But the petty squabbles, the passive-aggressive remarks, and the never-ending soap opera that many people seem to thrive on. No thanks. To the Sigma female, it's all noise, and she prefers to keep her life as noise-free as possible. She doesn't have the patience to engage in the emotional roller coasters others willingly hop on. The amusing part is that her refusal to participate in drama often makes her a magnet for it. People are drawn to her calmness, almost as if they're subconsciously testing her boundaries, hoping she'll get sucked into the chaos. Spoiler alert, she won't. The Sigma female is a master of deflection when it comes to drama, effortlessly dodging it like it's a bad punchline at a comedy show. If there's drama in the room, you can bet she's quietly making her exit before it even starts. Ultimately, drama doesn't serve any purpose in her life, and she sees no point in entertaining it. She values peace and mental clarity far too much to let someone else's chaos disrupt her day. So while others may thrive on the ups and downs of interpersonal conflicts, the Sigma female is perfectly content sipping her coffee in silence, far away from the madness. Number 8. Fundamental loneliness. At the core of the Sigma female's experience is a fundamental loneliness that isn't caused by a lack of people, but by a deep-seated understanding that she is different from most. She exists in a space where her thoughts, goals, and values often set her apart, making it hard for others to truly connect with her on a meaningful level. This isn't a loneliness that can be fixed by merely surrounding herself with people. It's the kind of isolation that comes from knowing that very few, if any, will ever fully understand her. It's not about being misunderstood in a superficial sense. It's about realizing that her depth, independence, and complexity create a natural barrier between her and the majority of people. Most people live in the realm of conformity, driven by social expectations, external validation, and a desire for belonging. The Sigma female, however, doesn't fit into these molds. She values authenticity over acceptance, solitude over shallow connections, and personal evolution over societal norms. This understanding creates a certain level of emotional distance that she can't easily bridge. Even when she's surrounded by people, she may feel alone, because the conversations, interactions, and connections often don't match the depth she craves. It's a type of loneliness that isn't about physical isolation. It's about being intellectually and emotionally out of sync with the mainstream. But here's the kicker. The Sigma female has made peace with this fundamental loneliness. She doesn't see it as a weakness or something to be fixed. In fact, she embraces it, knowing that her path is her own, and that solitude often accompanies those who refuse to follow the crowd. Her loneliness isn't a void. It's a space for her to explore her thoughts, nurture her creativity, and cultivate a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. She understands that while loneliness can feel heavy at times, it's also the price of living authentically, and for her, that's a trade-off she's more than willing to make. Number 9, they don't need validation from society. Sigma females operate on a plane of self-assuredness that renders societal validation irrelevant. While the average person seeks approval through external achievements, social acceptance, or adherence to societal norms, Sigma females are guided by their own internal compass. Their sense of self-worth is derived from within, not from the fleeting approval or recognition of others. Societal validation often comes with strings attached, expectations, conformities, and compromises. Sigma females reject these constraints, opting instead to define their own standards of success and happiness. They do not measure their worth by the accolades they receive or the social circles they inhabit. For them, personal fulfillment and integrity are the true benchmarks of value. In a world that constantly pushes the notion that external validation is crucial for success, Sigma females remain unfazed. They understand that true contentment and self-respect cannot be bought or bestowed by others. They are earned through personal achievement, introspection, and adherence to one's own principles. This independence from societal approval is not about defiance. It's about a deep-seated understanding that lasting satisfaction comes from being true to oneself, rather than conforming to external expectations. By distancing themselves from the need for societal validation, Sigma females create a space where they can pursue their goals and passions without the pressure to conform. They focus on their own standards and values, ensuring that their actions and decisions align with their personal vision rather than being swayed by societal trends or judgments. This detachment from the need for approval is a source of strength, allowing them to navigate their paths with clarity and purpose, free from the distractions and constraints of societal expectations. In essence, the Sigma female's unique approach to life, marked by her preference for solitude, her cautious engagement with others, and her indifference to societal validation, creates a profound and often misunderstood sense of independence. Her ability to thrive in her own company, her intellectual depth, and her deliberate avoidance of superficial connections define her in ways that set her apart from conventional social norms. While this path may lead to periods of fundamental loneliness, it also fosters a rich inner world and a life lived on her own terms. For Sigma females, the absence of traditional relationships and societal approval is not a deficiency, but a testament to their strength, autonomy, and unwavering commitment to living authentically. In embracing their solitary journey, they redefine what it means to be fulfilled and successful, proving that true contentment often comes from within and is measured by personal satisfaction rather than external validation. If you found this exploration of the Sigma female's unique journey insightful, don't miss out on more thought-provoking content that dives deep into what makes individuals truly exceptional. Subscribe to our channel for a front-row seat to the latest discussions on personal growth, self-discovery, and living life on your own terms. Join our community of like-minded thinkers who value authenticity and intellectual depth. Hit that subscribe button and be part of a space where individuality is celebrated and explored. Your journey toward understanding and empowerment begins here.